Over to Vasant. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you all to the session on digital signature. Uh, Vasant Bhai, if you can introduce Clarence, our speaker for the day.
Yes, good morning to you all. It is a great pleasure to introduce and welcome our eminent speaker in his Mr. Clarence Xavier. Just to give a brief about his profile, in his 32 years of work experience in the IT industry, he heads the end-to-end. He's accountable to end-to-end for all IT work executed within the company in the Abra Group. Clarence has successfully managed businesses accountable for the delivery of large IT projects and support contracts to clients in Europe and Canada. The responsibilities of his current and previous engagements are understanding and leveraging evolving technologies to the benefit of the organization and the client. Over the last few years, Clarence has been focused on understanding of the evolving threats and the adoption of the industry standards countermeasures. So with this, we once again welcome Clarence and thanks a lot for sparing his valuable time for sharing his knowledge on various topics to all the AMTOI members. And I hand over to you. And just before he starts, just a request to all the members to put in their questions only in the Q&A box, and all the questions will be taken by Ms. Priya once Mr. Clarence completes his presentation. Over to you, Clarence.
Thank you, Vasant, for the warm introduction. My pleasure to be conducting this session, and I hope our members will get immense benefit from it. So, I'm going to share my screen. Is this screen visible to you all, Vasant, Priya?
Yes, Clarence, visible, very well.
Okay, so let's start then. Okay, so we are going to cover digital signature by going through these five key agenda points. We're going to first understand what is a digital signature. I think it's most obvious for most people, given that they have been using it in some form or shape. What is a digital signature? But I'd like to just cover one or two salient key points that may bring a better understanding of a digital signature. Why digital signature? Right? We all know that the government of India mandates the use of digital signatures, but where and how else it can be used, let's try and understand that. Most importantly, let's try and get an understanding of the different types of digital signatures. Then let's see where and how digital signatures are used in India. And finally, let's understand how we can obtain a digital signature. So on that note, I will start. So as you all know, digital signature is the electronic format of your signature. Now, some people have this misconception that digital signature is a scanned version of your signature that is then put on a PDF or a Word document, right? So that should not be confused with the actual digital signature. Your digital signature is a set of essentially numbers that are stored electronically in some format that is only accessible through the computer and is not an image representation of your signature that you would normally or typically sign on your paper. So when I say that it cannot be forged nor repudiated, it means that because you're storing it in a format that is not easily accessible or understandable by human, it cannot be forged nor can it be repudiated? Meaning, once someone signs the document digitally and sends it over to you, that person cannot say that, oh, I didn't send this by accident, or I sent it by accident, or I didn't send this. So those questions cannot arise because there is no way anyone can apply a digital signature to the document unless they themselves have done it. Now, there are some other variations of a digital signature which will come through where you may not need to sign this yourself. But let's look at that as we go through the presentation. So it is essentially a mathematical technique that is used or implemented electronically to validate and authenticate documents, email, and software. Now, we all know that yes, a PDF document or a Word document or an XML file or a JSON file can be signed. It is also possible for your emails, provided of course your email system supports it, to sign your emails digitally rather than just have your digital, your email signature that typically all of us use in our email. There are a lot of advantages to it. So we'll go through it when we go through the various slides in the presentation. And software, right? So software also can be digitally signed. And why we need to do that, we will also understand as we go through the slides. Digital signatures are based on the well-established and well-trusted public key cryptography. So the document signer uses his or her private key to sign the documents, and the public key, which is available to everyone with the certificate that is published, can be used to authenticate and validate the signature. So, well established approach to how a digital signature is used and something that is internationally recognized and accepted. So, as I said, this is a practice that is now followed worldwide. It is legally recognized also in almost all the countries that are there. And these digital signatures are issued by trusted third party certificate authorities. So, what I mean by this trusted third party certificate authorities is every country has a certificate controlling authority, which is typically a government body or a quasi government body that has full accountability for certificates issued in India or the respective country. They are just a governing body. The actual process of issuing a digital certificate is normally done by these trusted third party companies, which are a mix of private organizations and maybe some government organizations, once again, based on the country you're in. So, in our country here in India, we have a mix of government organizations like NIC, as well as a number of private organizations that have been authorized by the CCA, which is run by the Ministry of Company Affairs, to issue this certificates. Right. So these organizations are published, are known, and therefore, when you get your digital signature certificate, this traceability of who has issued the certificate, who is the certificate controlling authority, is visible in the certificate when you view it. So this gives confidence and trust that this is a certificate issued by a genuine organization, and you can't forge that also. You could get certificates from different authorities or different entities, but if they are not trusted if they are not amongst the trusted list, then it doesn't stand any validity. So why we need digital signatures? As we all know, in India, it is now a huge statutory requirement. We have a number of government departments that insist and demand that we submit documents to them that are digitally signed. It's something now globally accepted and legally recognized. So it becomes easy for you to do your business by exchanging documents that are digitally signed. You don't have to worry about whether a document you sign here digitally in India would it be recognized elsewhere in some other countries. Security, we all know our signatures can be easily forged by the best of forgers, and therefore having a document digitally signed has got that much more value and benefit and confidence that no one else can put your signature on a document. Along with that, there is also time stamping. So when you sign a document digitally, or anyone else for that matter, there is a timestamp put, a date and time. So you know when a document was signed. Normally, no one really pays much attention to it, but sometimes when you get into an unfortunate situation of litigation, this could make a big difference to know when a document was signed. So that's something that you'll be able to know and find out. Then, of course, is the time and cost saving. So it's a lot more easier to digitally sign your document and send it to your colleagues or maybe your clients who are in a different city or a different country. And finally, linked to that also is the environment benefit. You can save humongous amount of paper that is printed, that is signed, and eventually just gets stored into some locker. And you need a lot of space then eventually to store these documents because they are physical paper. So having this on the computer is virtually at no cost, and you could always retrieve it quickly and easily, provided you have a proper indexing system. So these are the key benefits. Now, I also wanted to talk about emails and software. Now, when you send your emails, typically you just have your email signature, you compose your mail, read through it, and click on send. Now, it could be that sometimes some of this content is so important to you or maybe to the recipient of your email, where you're giving some kind of commitment that is of financial nature, either and has impact to maybe your client or yourself. You want to be sure that this email of yours is providing that level of confidence and assurance and guarantee that it is you who has sent a mail, because we know these days email systems, despite the best of effort, can be hacked, can be spoofed. You may get an email stating that it's from your chairman or maybe your CFO, when actually it is not. If you were to digitally sign your email and send it, the recipient will be able to, using your certificate, take out the public key and then validate that it is you who has sent the email rather than anyone else trying to spoof your email system or even hack your email system. It's used by some companies when they want to communicate something that is really important. Most people are not aware, or maybe they don't use it, but this is one another way of how you could use digital signatures. And then finally, on the software, while for most of us that may not be really applicable, the purpose of using digital signature in a software is, as a user of a lot of software, we need some assurance that the software that we download on our computers or even on our mobile phones is from the organization from whom we are trying to take some kind of service or benefit. So there would be many companies having similar sounding names, similar sounding UI design, but may not be, or will not be the real genuine software. Downloading software could pose a risk because they might be having some malicious intent. Now, how do we control that? So, softwares also can be digitally signed by, usually by organizations. So you can see if the software that you're using or about to download is, let's say, from Microsoft, as is being claimed, or from Adobe, or from Google, or whichever the company it is, and not someone trying to, you know, slip through a software that they have developed just in order to get some kind of personal or confidential details from you once you install their software. So that is another way of how digital signatures are used insofar as software goes. So companies that produce software nowadays are mandated to digitally sign it before they are put up on either Apple Store or Google Play Store or any of these common stores where software is marketed and sold. So let's look at what are the type of digital signatures that are there. So we have a class 1 and a class 2 and a class 3. Now, class 1, even though you might see they're not valid in India, class 2 discontinued from 1st Jan 2021. Let me just quickly go through this and then focus more on class 3. So with class 1, you can get a certificate by just doing a basic email ID and username as the basis to validate and authenticate yourself. There are no legal documents to be submitted in order to get a class 1 certificate. Then you have the class 2 certificate where an authentication is done based against a pre-verified database. And it provides one level of higher security compared to class 1. And in other countries, it's used to sign some documents. Now, given the kind of risks that were there with class 1 and class 2, the government of India discontinued all classes of certificates other than class 3 from the 1st of Jan 2021. Those who had valid class 2 certificates or even class 1 certificates prior to 1st Jan 2021 were still valid to be used until they expired. And when you wanted to renew it, you had to go in for a new class 3 certificate. So it's no more possible in India at least, to buy either a class 1 or a class 2 certificate. So what it means is makes it easier also for us in India. You just have one class, which is class 3 certificate. Earlier, there used to be in-presence identification to prove your identity. Over a period of time, the government of India is allowed to submit documents, could be your Aadhaar or your PAN, and then get that electronically submitted, authorized, verified, and authenticated to get your certificate. Now, we have two types of digital certificates with two different certificate types. One is a signer certificate and one is a document signer certificate. So what I mean by this is, in the first case, this signer certificate is a certificate for you as an individual, where you need to sign your document that needs to be uploaded to either the government statutory organizations or maybe a document that you are submitting to your customer or partner, as the case may be. Then you have the document signer certificate. Now, you may have seen, especially when you get your income tax returns, or maybe even when you get your GST returns, the documents come in by email and they have a digital signature. Now, it is humanly impossible for someone in these organizations where they need to sign these documents that are there by the lakhs, if not crores. So a document signer certificate is essentially a certificate that you buy for your organization against a specific individual. You could install it on your server. You can write a code in your software where whenever these documents are sent out, so in our case, it could be invoices or receipts that we are sending out to our customers, as and when they make payments or whenever an invoice is due. The program will automatically use this document signer certificate to apply the signature onto these documents and have it emailed. So this happens through the program in the background without any human intervention. So this provides for bulk document signing and is specifically meant for need to sign documents in bulk in an automated manner. Now, let's look at how and where it is used in India. So the usage of digital signatures received legal validity under the Information Technology Act of 2000. So it's now 23 years that we have this, and it has been evolving. As I mentioned in the beginning, there is a controller of certifying authority who regulates and permits the certifying authorities. Now, in our case here in India, it is the Ministry of Company Affairs, which is the CCA, and they in turn permit organizations, could be private, could be other government entities, to issue certificates on their behalf. So there is some amount of process, there is some amount of infrastructure that these entities need to invest in. And to introduce an element of competition and to remove the fear of monopoly, the Ministry of Company Affairs publishes on their website different organizations that are authorized to give you a digital certificate. So you have the flexibility to choose which entity you want to work with to get your digital signature certificate. So I have put in the link here. When the presentation is shared, you could have a look at the website and see which other entities are there that you would like to work with. We all know that there are a few common organizations that we use, but there are a lot more that are available. And the rates, as I mentioned, are left to every organization to decide and publish as to what would be the cost of their service. So here in India, typically the usage is for signing of documents by individual or by software. So as I said, when you want to do a bulk signature of documents because you're issuing documents through your software by email to your customers, partners, you could have it digitally signed with your ERP software. And I've listed down over here which are the government authorities that mandate usage of digital signatures. Now, I'm sure there would be more organizations, but these are the organizations that we use on a regular, if not daily basis. So, since 2021, there is only the class 3 digital certificates that are valid in India. You can only buy these also from an Indian based entity. Now, I have seen some other certificate authorities outside India that also issue class 2, but these, of course, will not be recognized in India, could be recognized in their part of the world or in other countries. An online purchase is now a given option with all CAs. So you could complete the entire process of procurement. You select whether you're buying the certificate or digital signature certificate for yourself as an individual or for your organization. Now you have the option of only 1 or 2 years of validity. I understood that sometime back you could even buy the certificate for up till 3 years, but now it's just limited to 2 years. The verification is done through your Aadhaar OTP or through your PAN-based eKYC. There is also a video recording that is there that all these sites are mandated to conduct, where they record you as an individual, a short video snippet along with your voice to capture the details, and that is used as part of the verification. So once this verification is completed, you can then download and install the certificate. Now, here is where unfortunately the process to download and install the certificate varies from every certifying authority. So you need to go through that particular vendor who you have procured to understand what is the process to download and install the certificates. Now, importantly, before you could install the certificate, you need to procure a USB token and then install the certificate on the USB token. Now, here I just wanted to bring to your attention a few points. The USB token, as some of you all would have already used by now, looks like your typical pen drive. But don't get misled into thinking that you could use any pen drive. These USB tokens are specifically designed to have additional security mechanism to prevent any kind of, uh, shall I say, manipulation of the device because you install the certificate on it. right? So they have some additional capabilities, hardware capabilities on the device, which is important and which is required to install the certificate on it. So to download and install the certificate on this USB token, the company that you're buying the certificate from, digital signature certificate, provides a software where you could download the certificate from their site. And of course, it is through an authentication and verification. And then this certificate is installed on the USB token. So whenever you need to use the signature, your digital signature, you have to make sure that this USB token is plugged into your computer to sign the documents. Now, this, of course, is only valid in the case of your individual signature of documents. When you need to do a bulk signature, there it's a different mechanism. You don't use USB tokens. There are additional certificates that need to be procured and installed on your server in order for your software to do the bulk signing of the documents that you're issuing to your clients or partners. So having the certificate is one thing. You need to register the usage of your digital signature certificates with different organizations. Again, it varies department to department. So what I have put down are links that some of you may already be familiar with as to how you would go about registering your digital signature certificate. You could, find that there are other organizations that have their own process. So I have put down what is the most common, right? So with this, I come to the end of my presentation. I'm now open for questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was one fantastic session, Clarence.
Thank
We
you.
have, thankfully, a lot of questions. Maybe duplicate some you've already
Yeah,
clarified, but
yeah,
let
yeah.
me go through the
Sure.
questions so we can take that in a bit more detail.
Okay.
So I'm showing the questions. Our Western region, Mr.
Prashant.
Prashant has most questions. So let's
Yes.
start with Prashant. So he had questions even before we started the session.
Yeah,
So
I noticed those questions. Right.
yeah, they were popping up. So that's why I was trying to remove them quickly, dismiss from there so that it doesn't
No,
disturb
no
you.
problem. No, no problem.
So
So,
quick,
yeah, so let me try and put all the questions of Prashant together.
yeah.
Right. The first is Prashant, as you have seen in my documentation and in my presentation, and which you will also see on the various websites. In India, it's only class 3 now, which you would need to use. So there isn't any purpose in trying to understand what would be the challenge if you were to use class 2 because it's no more valid. If you already have a valid certificate, you can continue to use it. But if you are to submit anything with government organizations, I saw even a few days back, I rechecked, some of the government organizations are saying that you need to have only a class 3 certificate in order to submit any documents to them. So I hope I've been able to answer your 5 different questions in that one. Okay.
The
I don't know
next
if
is
Prashant is able to
no.
give his
Prashant will
response
not
back.
be
Yeah.
able. Yeah,
Yeah,
Prashant is
yeah,
able to,
understood.
talk,
Yeah.
but we cannot allow him to speak right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, understood.
Let
Okay.
me see if I think only Vasant Bhai can do. Vasant Bhai, can you
Okay,
please
fine.
check if you can maybe because the chat is closed, so we'll have to ask Prashant personally.
I'll just check one thing. In the meantime, you can
Yeah.
just point the
I'll
other.
go through the other questions. So DocuSign MCA forms not getting pre-student MCA web, any specific reasons how to use? Um, I wouldn't know Yogita with DocuSign so long as you have a class 3 certificate, it should not be an issue. But you never know. The MCA website may be looking at only India specific organizations to give you a class 3 certificate, though it should not be the case. Um, so, in my opinion, there shouldn't be a problem if you're using a class 3 certificate. And as I have explained to you, you need to first register your certificate with the MCA body before you could actually use it. So you have to make sure that you're going through that registration process in order to use your certificate. So I really don't think there should be any issue as long as a class 3 certificate. Okay, so Preetham's question, what is the difference between digital signatures and e-signatures? Now, I'm assuming here that e-signature is maybe an image representation of your signature on a document, meaning you have scanned your signature and
Yogita,
the
Clarence,
signature has been put. Yes.
Yogita has come back saying that the DSC is already registered on MCA web on for her question you wanted to know.
Okay. Right.
DocuSign MCA forms not get pre-scrutinized at
Hmm,
MCA
hmm,
web.
hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. But it's still not working.
yeah.
I do not know. This is where we get into some specifics. I'm not sure, like, is there any kind of error message that is coming in, which will help in trying to troubleshoot what could be the issue. Without that, it's difficult to give a kind of specific response to this.
Yeah.
So
So
maybe Yogita, if you could, I have put my email address at the end of my presentation. I'm happy to, try and help you out with this. Send me the details of what exactly the issue you're facing, and I will try and troubleshoot it. Okay, so coming back to Preetham's question, digital signature and e-signature. So I'm assuming here e-signature is just an image scan of your signature on a document. Well, that is not going to carry any validity in India because that can be easily forged by anyone. So a digital signature cannot be forged, and that is the only legally recognized form of a signature on a document which you have not physically signed. Uh, Next question of Yogita having more than one DSC, whether valid in India. I have come across few people having more than one DSC in India. I haven't seen any kind of rule or any kind of constraint saying that okay, you can only have one DSC. You may have 3, 4 DSCs from different issuing authorities, and may use one for the income tax, another one for GST. So I don't think there is any issue with that. And then coming to Nirmala's question, can we renew the old DSC? Yes, you can renew the DSC provided it is a class 3. If it's a class 2 certificate, cannot be renewed, you would need to go in for a new certificate. Now, one point is I am not entirely clear if there's any kind of deadline by when you need to renew your digital certificate signatures once it's expired. So let's say your certificate is expired in the month of September. I'm not entirely sure. I will check and find out whether there is a 30-day or 60-day kind of period by which you can renew before you go for a new certificate. So I can check on that and come back. And then if DSC is misplaced, can we block and arrange a new one? Yes, you can definitely do that. You need to go back to the same entity from which you bought the digital signature certificate, and they have their own process by which you can inform them that your certificate has been lost so that it can be blocked, and then you can go ahead with a new one. So yes, that is possible. Um, can we create multiple tokens of the same signatory set? So by this I mean multiple USB tokens. No, you cannot do that. It's one USB token for one signature. So here again, there is a process. If you lose that USB token, there is a process by which you need to raise this loss complaint so that it gets blocked, and then you go through the process of having a new signature created.
So, Clarence, Nirmala has come back saying that the vendors insist us to apply for a new one instead of renewing.
For in case of misplace,
Yeah, no, yeah. You know,
in
for
case of misplace, yes.
after
In
expiry,
case,
after
okay, so it's possible that I do not know. Are all vendors doing it? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure there is some leeway by a few days at least, wherein you can renew your DSC once it is expired. But I will check on this, Nirmala, and come back to you to see whether the CCA has put in any new conditions which forces all these CAs to therefore insist on a new certificate if you're not renewed it before the expiry date. Okay, then let's go to the question of Swati. Can we set DSC in program itself to sign sales invoice? Yes, definitely it's
yes.
possible. I have explained that to you. There is a specific type of certificate. You need to go for the document signing certificate. It costs a lot more than your individual certificate, and the authentication and verification process is much more rigorous. But yes, it is possible. Many organizations are already doing that here in India. Okay, how do we verify the genuinity of a sender? So when you get a document signed, you could open the document. If let's say it's a PDF document in Adobe, if you're using Adobe Acrobat, there is a way without getting to the specifics of the menu option. It provides you an option to view the certificate, open the certificate, and then you can see the traceability. So the certificate issued to, let's say, Clarence Xavier, issued by who could be eMudra or any of the other companies, and who, you know, uh, was or which was the organization that allowed eMudra to perform the role of a CA. So you could see that traceability on the certificate to, give you that assurance on the genuinity of the sender. I think 1 minute. Yeah. So Manoj question, once document digitally signed, when
After Swati, Shravan's question, how do we verify?
yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that-
okay. So I have answered that question, right?
Yeah,
The way to
yeah.
verify
Now
the
Manoj.
yeah. So Manoj's question. So if a document is signed and you try and edit the document, then what that means is, let's say it's an invoice, all right? Let's take that as an example. There's an invoice that you received for 1 lakh. Now someone goes and edits the document in PDF. You have PDF editors. Um, you could, when creating the PDF document, I'd like to also add something here. You have the ability to create PDF documents that cannot be edited, irrespective of what software anyone is using, right? PDF has these capabilities. It's an internationally recognized standard to prevent a document from being edited. Forget the digital signature apart. Let's assume that someone failed to do that. They just applied the digital signature. Now, once you edit the document, you are changing the contents of it, which is different from what the sender had sent to you. The moment you change the contents of that, it is very, therefore, obvious that the sender will say that this is a document that has been tampered and therefore my signature no more applies. So that's why all this software will remove the digital signature once you edit the document. They will put a statement there stating that the
Document edited.
document is being edited and is no more valid, or the signature is no more valid. Okay, so let's go to Nirmala's question. Is there any portal? Well, Nirmala, I'm sorry to give you bad news. There is no one source where you can go if you face a signature issue with government organizations. You need to go to that respective support help desk, be it MCA, income tax, GST, Provident Fund, or whichever is the organization. You need to work with them in order to get this issue sorted and fixed. So there isn't any one single entity or organization or support desk. Then coming to Umesh's question, which type of DSC is required? So as I mentioned, today in India, irrespective of where and how you want to use it, when a class 3 certificate is valid, that is which can be used. So I hope I answered that question. Uh, there is also a question showing that, red cross marks not verified. So you would see a red cross mark means typically someone has tampered or edited or modified the document and saved it and sent it to you. And therefore, the digital signature is no more applicable for it, and it will show you the red cross mark. More often, you will see such documents with a question mark. This is because you need to install the certificate or verify once the issuing authority of the certificate on your system. Thereafter, any certificate that were earlier showing as question mark would then show with a green tick mark. But with a red cross mark means there is something wrong with the document and you should proceed with caution. Can we digitally sign the CWA bill of lading? Well, there's nothing that says we cannot, but it all depends on the business process within your organization. What is the kind of additional security mechanism you want to implement? But yes, it's possible. So there is nothing that is. Can we use DSC in Linux operating system? Well, I have looked at a few of the CA portals. They all give support to Windows or to Mac computers. I haven't seen anything for Linux. I have to admit, I have not seen all of them. So there could be a few cases where they might be supporting Linux, but I have not come across that.
Thank you, Clarence. We have Prashant here. Since he had the maximum question, we've given him a chance to come on and say a
Sure.
few words. Yes, Prashant, over to you.
Hence, I just wanted to confirm the difference between a company signature and authorized signature, since it is now only class 3.
Mhm.
If we have some authorized signatory registered in GST to sign, says and all those things. So how do we take care of that? And what is the difference between the company signature and authorized signature difference? Authorized signature, signature, and what is the liability between the two?
I am not sure about the liability difference, Prashant. I can check on that and definitely come back to you. So if you're going for an organization-based signature, uh, that is when you would probably be using it for bulk document signings, and it works by, without the usage of your crypto token, you would buy that organization-based certificate and then use it for your software. Typically, that would be used when you are issuing documents to your clients or partners or whoever else. But when submitting documents or uploading documents onto government portals, then they expect, as an individual, you are signing the documents and uploading that.
No, that's fine. But
Uh,
when it comes to invoice, and if there
mhm.
is an organization signature that you called as class 3 now, can an organization signature also be like an authorized signature?
Yeah, an organization, see, there is no such thing as an organization signature, even physically, right? There is to be someone in your organization who is representing you. So it could be either your CFO or your finance manager who's issuing the invoice, right? So it will have to be under his name, but on behalf of your company.
Sure. So that is okay, but then we need to
Mhm.
just verify what is the liability between an organization signature as owner or director and the authorized signature.
I will get back to you on that, Prashant.
Dave is on the move, so let me do the vote of thanks on his behalf. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Clarence, for that lovely
My
clarification.
pleasure.
The presentation was absolute, precise, and a very knowledgeable one. The questions also coming up shows that you kept the participants involved and their questions were answered. We'll be sending this presentation across, maybe one or two the questions which we've answered. If you can incorporate that information, that clarity as well,
So
I'll send you
just
the
send
list.
me the questions
Yes,
and then I will
I'll
make a
send you
change to the
this.
document and submit it.
Absolutely. I'll send you the list of questions and you
Sure.
can implement the answers for that as well and send it across. We will send it across to everyone.
I'll send it to, yeah, to Delphi. Sorry,
Al-
to Delsar.
Also, thank you all participants and we would really love to receive from you on our admin ID, admin@amtoi.org. Please come forward and send in more requests, more training topics which you look forward for your team, for yourself, so that we are able to prepare more and more, have these kind of sessions. So whatever topic you have in recommendation, please come forward. And that is it. Thank you very much. And that's it. Thank you for now.
Yeah. Right. Well, so one last point is
Yes.
my email address is there at the end of the presentation. So even later on, if someone has a question, feel free to send it out and I'll be more than
Absolutely.
happy to help out. I think Nirmala had one challenge that she was facing, so she could
Sure.
reach out to me.
Sure. Definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clarence.
Thank
Vasan
you,
bhai,
Clarence.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye
thank
for
Thank
now.
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Reach
Bye.
out to you
Nice
offline.
weekend. Thank you. Thanks.
Clarence, I'll reach out to you offline on the liability.
Yeah, sure, Prashant. Okay.